A 2019 update. Whenever we haven't seen or heard from someone for a while, we typically say, hey, what's new? Well, buckle up. My life is always a crown of thorns and a string of pearls. What I shared in the first two personal videos was not only condensed versions of my adventures, but surgically amputated. Even my memoir, Stone's Throw, is rather abridged. I get that my story is literally unbelievable, which is why I even left out some parts that are so incredulous, I was afraid any more would make it seriously and totally unbelievable. If more than 3 months have gone by and I'm asked, what's new? Then a not much replies a total lie. Within a few months, my living is always extraordinarily different. This is why it is so hard to know me, which is why it can be a lonely existence. But I don't try to live within the extraordinary. I actually try to live within the simple and ordinary. Extraordinary just doesn't leave me be. Even though I live within routines and I'm a homebody to some extent, I like adventure. I like to travel and broaden my horizons in all ways. So here's an update since the last personal video. Number one, I'm back in California. After some very tragic personal losses still reverberating from my death experience, I awoke in the middle of the night and was told, your exile is over, go home. Within 3 weeks, I was in SoCal looking for a place to live. On Halloween. October is a mysterious, predictably unpredictable month for me. The short version is that a smaller chain of supernatural events led me to move to about an hour north of LA. So here I am by the beach in an amazing new existence. After landing on the shores of SoCal, I went on a road trip up Highway 1 with my son and we had a powwow. You want to come and stay with me by the beach rent-free and bank some money before you go living abroad in New Zealand soon? So I got 2 roommates now, cat and son. Total isolation in the PNW to roommate collaboration in SoCal. So, to summarize the Pacific Northwest experience, I leased a huge home on 4 acres near Mount Rainier. Bonded with the spirit of Rainier and healed tremendously. Got my memory and cognitive skills back in an avalanche of healing. Built a custom home on the South Sound. Built it. Connected to the International Association of Near-Death Studies, IANS, another chain of unusual circumstances to reconcile my death experience. Lived in the woods in my brand new custom home, which I hand-built a porch for, and then sold it. Relocated to LA on the beach. Persuaded my son to roommate with me to make up for lost time and to complete what I started before I was killed, helping him complete his independence and self-reliance. I have been working on converting my counseling innovations to online courses to make my helping career accessible to thousands around the world for pennies to the dollar. And I've been strategically procrastinating writing in my time of dying, triumph over tragedy, overcoming brain injury and the near-death experience. I've written a few rough draft chapters, but need some time to enjoy, not feeling like a Nosferatu now that my soul is finally reintegrated with my body. So I'm working on the online products for you and getting some breath before I relive that horrible dark tragedy. But I'll give you a little preview. Near-death experience, NDEs, are friggin' bizarre. I gained all these psychic abilities and perceptions from it. I learned all these cool things while I was on the other side. Some I knew before, but it was totally verified. Like your mind is separate but attached to your soul. My soul and mind were present and aware, but I had no body in this nebulous, timeless, spaceless dimension place. So when I was on the other side, a place I now call the portal, I was uploaded all this knowledge, which is being documented in the book and video series. A lot of what I gained there I wasn't able to access until my soul reintegrated with my body in early 2018. I was kind of connected to a spirit mind. I was instructed to making my helping knowledge not available by books, but by video courses. I was offered really powerful psychic intuitive powers, but I refused them. I was offered views of future events, and I rejected those too. I was offered clear understandings of past events. Some of those I glanced at. One of the cool but sometimes troubling NDE side effects for me is that when I interact with people, I don't just see them as who they are at the moment. I see them as souls of many lifetimes and many identities. It's a bit confusing because it always makes me want to ask them why they think they are who they are now and not this eternal soul with this long chain of identities, and how can they not see when it's so obvious? But I stifle it and usually choose not to even view their past identities, allowing myself to get to know them the good old-fashioned organic way like anybody else. Kind of evens the playing field, you know? I'm sorry to report my profound and special love relationship didn't survive the tragedy. It is sad and stupid when people go to sleep in spite of what's right in front of them. My death tragedy was just more than it could bear. It broke and breaks my heart, and it shatters me to see such good people, she and I, to be alone. It's senseless and unnecessary. Over 70% of NDEers get divorced. 90% of DAI brain injury sufferers are dead by suicide or institutionalized within 4 years. And I am the only documented stage 3 Glasgow coma survivor since like 1998. So I'm single. A bit lonely sometimes, and dating at my age is rough because everybody over 45 has a lot of baggage and often clueless to their own set of one-sided double standards. Please, singles, married couples, people, please be far more tolerant than you are and open your eyes to those around you and accept the bad with the good. Stop focusing so much on the bad and see the balance. No one is all good. You aren't either. And no one is all bad either. Be grateful for your blessings and always willing to earn more. Don't just beg for them, work for them. Death is no ending, but you die while you're smack in the middle of things. When you wake up, having to start from scratch again. Kind of like waiting in line at the DMV, finally handling your license and registration, and then having to do it all again the next week. Again and again, like Groundhog Day. And every time you go, they tell you they never saw you before, and you got to keep getting in that damn DMV line. So, go as far as you can in this life. Spiritually evolve so you can awake in your next life at the front of the line and not the back, or at least with an appointment. Be well. I'll update again when it's time.